They say in Ireland that people are Catholic when they're hatched, matched, and dispatched. So when you're born, when you get married, and when you die. It doesn't have a lot of bearing on everyday life for most people. The challenge that comes with that is that people have their version of religion and they're not really interested in changing that. They're happy with what they have. And one of the verses that God brought to my attention when I was preparing to go to the field, it's in Romans 10, that people are zealous for God, but their zeal is not based on knowledge. So you're trying to have people talk about God when they're already happy with what they have.
Europe is becoming more and more secular. Each generation tends to know less and less about God. Grandparents' generation may have gone to church every Sunday. Their parent generation may go Christmas and Easter. Grandchild generation may not have any concept of God at all. And so each generation seems to be losing more and more of an idea of who God is and what He can do for them in their life.
I think many people would be surprised to know that across Europe, many of the countries would have the same percentage of evangelical believers in those countries as you would find in places like the Middle East and North Africa. And so there's a spiritual darkness, and the gospel has the power to save. So we want to see the light of the gospel shining in Europe.
Only 0.3% of those in Poland have a gospel-centered understanding that salvation is by grace alone, through faith alone, in Christ alone. And to have that conversation with somebody in Poland can be very difficult for them to leave tradition and to leave religion, to leave that legacy in their family, to understand the truth of who Christ is. We're praying that God will open up those relationships with families to be able to see the gospel penetrate in a real way.
It's important to be able to build relationships with people, to build those bridges. People aren't beating the doors down to come into the church. And so you have to go out into the community. And I've just used things that I like. I like history. I joined the Historical Society. I knit. I go to a knitting club. But I started a toddler group at the church that I work at. And God knew what I needed because that has given me a great place to build friendships in the community and to be able to share His love with people that I wouldn't have normally brushed up shoulders with. And it's not just with Irish people, but it's with people from around the globe. You're not just reaching one country, you're having fingerprints from around the world.
ABWE is spreading the gospel in Europe in so many different ways, from teaching guitar lessons to meeting with people in coffee shops, starting running clubs, and the kinds of things that people do in everyday life you can do in Europe and connect with people and be able to share with them the truths of the gospel.
As we have said yes to world missions, we have been so incredibly thankful for ABWE. Their emphasis on missionaries being sent out by the local church is not only biblical, I think it strengthens the mission altogether.
I think that because of the way we've approached ministry in Ireland under ABWE's tutelage, we have a lot of respect from the Irish pastors and the church there, that we have been effective at coming alongside them and helping them and not being a hindrance.
So if God is calling you into world missions, I would ask that you would consider and pray that maybe the Lord would lead your heart into going to this part of the world.
It's not easy all the time, but it's something that I believe is worth it, because as you begin to see lives that are changed and you're part of that process, I mean, what greater joy.